You've seen the Grand Canyon, the photographs, those orange walls dropping a mile straight down, the earth cracking open in a way that stops you cold. It is one of the most dramatic landscapes on the surface of this planet. Now, take that image, every cliff, every shadowed depth, and stretch it for over 300 miles. Then, sink it. Plunge it beneath 2 miles of pitch-black ocean water, where no sunlight has ever reached, where the pressure would crush a submarine like a tin can. That place is real. It exists right now, sitting on the floor of the Atlantic Ocean, roughly 600 miles west of Portugal, and most people have never heard its name. It's called the King's Trough Complex. The King's Trough is not just a trench. It's a vast, interconnected system of parallel rifts, fractures, and deep basins carved into the floor of the North Atlantic. End to end, this system stretches roughly 310 miles longer than the state of Ohio from border to border. Its deepest point, a location scientists call Peak Deep, sits at the eastern end of the system and ranks as one of the deepest places in the entire Atlantic Ocean. Think about that. Somewhere beneath the waves that transatlantic flights pass over every day, there is a canyon of staggering scale that the vast majority of humanity has never thought about and may never see in their lifetime. We talk endlessly about the Mariana Trench. We make documentaries about the Bermuda Triangle, but the King's Trough? Almost nothing. There are no legends attached to it, no ships claimed by its depths, at least none we know of. And that silence may be the most unsettling thing about it. Because deep inside that rift in water barely above freezing, under pressure measured in thousands of pounds per square inch, in total, consuming darkness, we genuinely do not know what is there. What creatures have adapted to survive in those trenches? What formations lie along those fractured walls? What wonders exist in those shadows? We may not find out anytime soon. The technology required to explore it is extraordinary. For now, the most complete picture scientists have was built not from diving in, but from listening. To understand what created the King's Trough, it helps to first look at how great rifts form above the waterline. Take the Grand Canyon. It was born from patience. Over millions of years, the Colorado River wound across the plateau, grinding through sedimentary rock layer by layer. Water is patient. Time is relentless. And the result is a canyon over a mile deep and 277 miles long. A masterpiece carved by nothing more than a river doing what rivers do. So the natural question is, could something similar have carved the King's Trough? Could deep ocean currents have scoured that massive system into the Atlantic floor over millions of years? The answer is no. What created the King's Trough was something far more violent. Between roughly 37 and 24 million years ago, this stretch of the North Atlantic became the collision zone between two of the planet's largest tectonic plates, the European plate and the African plate. These colossal slabs of rock don't stay still. They drift, collide, and sometimes pull apart. When they separate, the crust between them doesn't go quietly. It fractures, it stretches, it sinks, and it leaves behind a scar. That is exactly what happened here. The crust in this region was ripped apart from east to west. Scientists describe it like a giant zipper being torn open across the ocean floor. As the plates separated, the rock between them collapsed into a series of deep troughs and basins. But the story doesn't stop there. Rock samples dredged from the site revealed that the crust was also subjected to intense heat rising from deep within the planet. A mantle plume, a column of superheated material, pushing upward from below, further warping and weakening the rock from underneath. Two forces, one pulling apart from above, one pushing up from below. The result was the King's Trough Complex, a 300-mile wound in the floor of the Atlantic. A scar left behind by one of the most dramatic geological events in the history of this ocean. And here is why it matters beyond pure curiosity. Right now, near the Azores Island chain, another massive rift system is actively forming. It is called the Tercera Rift, and it is tearing open the Atlantic floor in real time. Studying the King's Trough is essentially reading the biography of what the Tercera Rift might one day become, understanding the forces, the stages, the potential consequences. Studying ancient geological events isn't just about the past. It is how humanity reads the future written into the rock beneath us. But let's come back to the surface. Back to the canyon we all think we know, because even after millions of visitors, the Grand Canyon still has things that will genuinely catch you off guard. First, this canyon is not one climate, it is many. Because of the mile-high elevation change between the rim and the canyon floor, the Grand Canyon generates its own weather systems. Stand at the rim on a winter morning and you're ankle-deep in snow. Drop a few hundred feet and hikers are in warm sunshine. Descend further and you walk into fog so thick you can barely see the trail. Climb a different ridge and rain is falling. One canyon, four weathers, sometimes in the same afternoon. Second, those canyon walls are not just rock, they are pages. Embedded in the limestone and shale are marine fossils over 1 billion years old, remnants of a time when this desert region sat beneath a warm, shallow sea. Deeper in the cave systems, archaeologists have found traces of land mammals that roamed here 10,000 years ago. The Grand Canyon is a geological library that stretches from the ancient past to the near present, almost every era of life on this continent documented in its stone. Third, deep inside the canyon, not near the rim, but at the very bottom, there is a village. Supai Village sits within the Havasupai Indian Reservation, home to roughly 200 people. It is the most remote inhabited settlement in the continental United States, and the last place in the country where the U.S. mail is still delivered by pack mule. There are no roads. To reach it, you hike 8 miles through steep canyon walls, and somewhere along that trail, you realize this community has existed here for centuries, quietly, persistently, on their own terms. And then there is the rumor that refuses to die. In 1909, an Arizona newspaper published a front-page story claiming that Smithsonian archaeologists had discovered a hidden tunnel inside the Grand Canyon, filled with mummies and artifacts that appeared to be ancient Egyptian in origin. Ancient Egypt. In Arizona, the Smithsonian issued an immediate denial. No such archaeologists. No such research. No such artifacts. Most historians consider it a straightforward hoax. But in a canyon full of ancient shadows and unexplored caves, the story found the kind of grip that facts alone cannot always break. 2 canyons, one carved by a river over millions of patient years, one torn open by the violent collision of continents, one standing under the desert sun, visited by millions. One sitting in cold darkness at the bottom of the Atlantic, largely unexplored. Both of them are reminders that this planet, the one we think we know, has not finished surprising us. And if you think those two are dramatic, wait until you hear about the canyon in Tibet that makes both of them look small. But that is a story for another video.